Some of the leaders on the offense just wanted to kind of bring the guys together and, just kind of take a collective deep breath. We got through the tough part of camp and really just feeling encouraged about where we are as an offense. I think the past 2 days in particular have been very good. So just kind of taking a minute to encourage young guys and some of the young guys that are stepping into big roles, scout team or whatever it is. So just kind of transitioning here into the regular season and what all that entails and the commitment that it's going to take.
Who all spoke?
It was just me and Darian, and then I stepped away, but I know I think Braden was going to talk. So just some of the older guys that are, leaders or whatnot on offense.
Matt, have you been getting most of the first team reps at center, or how are those being divvied up right now?
Yeah, so we're all getting reps. We're splitting reps. I have been taking reps at center, which is definitely challenging. It's been an adjustment. I think that it's been really good. I'm really getting comfortable, and when I'm getting those reps, I feel pretty good. Been getting more and more consistent with my snaps. Obviously, that's the big thing. So just kind of continually getting better, and that's what you want. But everyone's kind of taking reps, and also just guys getting in different positions. I think I've also obviously been getting reps at guard, and just kind of everyone shuffling around. So I think that's good. When you talk about our depth this year, I know that's been a big emphasis. So I know everyone's excited about playing next weekend.
What's been the biggest change for you? Repping at center.
Obviously at center, I think first I would say that there's a common misconception about how easy it might be to slide from one offensive line position to another. I think that each has its own nuances. When you're out of tackle, there's quite a bit more space, and as you move more inside, then there's less and less space. And once you get to be in the center, if you have a head up nose, then you have no space. And so those are just little things that take repetitions, and going against the defense that we have, we get to go against really good players. And so it's really nice to be challenged in that fashion early on, so we're not rolling out there against Georgia and kind of having our hands full because we've never really seen someone of that caliber.
Are you comfortable there if they need you to start there in game one?
Absolutely. Yeah, I've throughout the offseason, I've been very adamant to the coaching staff that they should have no hesitation about putting me there, and it's something that I'm confident about and comfortable with. So we'll see where it goes.
Hypothetically, if you start at center and Marcus is a left guard, what has he done to prove to the coaches and to you that he can handle it against Georgia?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, hypothetically, who knows, but Marcus has done a really good job. And as a true freshman to come in and play as an offensive lineman is no small feat. And I don't think a lot of people understand how impressive that is. To be a true freshman and to come play on this level is incredibly impressive. And he's a natural bender. You can just tell he was born to play offensive line, and he's really big. He's got good size, but moves well. So I know whenever we need Marcus, he's going to be ready. And obviously there's things to work on. I mean, we all have things to work on, but as a true freshman, there's just a lot of details in this game that you need to learn, and that comes with time. But he's shown great initiative since he's gotten here in January, and I've been really impressed as an old guy, just the way he's conducted himself.
What do you make of the junior guys? Georgia's on film, kind of pretty big.
Yeah, obviously they're big, right? And not just big, but very good players as well. So they've been number one stopping the run for a reason, and I don't anticipate that to change. I think that we're going to have a challenge opening out of the gate, and it's interesting for me to think about just because of we have had the opportunity this fall camp to go against such a great defensive line in our own, but maybe just a little different. You've got maybe some twitchier guys as opposed to those really, really heavy guys. We get a little dose of that with Peyton Page, but so it's just a little different. But obviously a challenge, and like I said, they're not in the position that they are for no reason.
How different are you as a result of your surgery? Do you feel like a different player?
Which one? Man, it's a part of the game, and would it be nice for me to come here at Clemson and have zero surgeries and have perfect health and feel great all the time? That would be great. But the fact of the matter is, when you play college offensive line, you're going to be banged up. You're going to have your fingers broken, shoulders torn, knees, you name it. And it's just a part of the game. And I think it comes down to mental toughness. And if you really want to play this game, if you really want to do what you signed up for, then you'll find a way. And I've been incredibly consistent and diligent on that part, and I feel the best I've felt in over a year. So I'm really excited about this season, and it just takes a level of maturity on my part to make sure we stay in that position. But I feel great, and I don't think that the surgery has changed me at all.
Going back to the go ahead. Going back to the team meeting over here, we knew so many new faces that the offense would start out a little slow. What's kind of gelled for you guys the past couple of practices?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at typically it's going to take an offense a little bit longer to get timing and communication and all those things together and during camp. And it's frustrating because we're all competitors and we all want to win and it's not something that we want to just say, well, it's going to take longer. We all want to win every rep. But I just think that there's communication and things that, I mean, when you're going up against Coach Venable's defense and all the looks that they present, it's like, if you're a young guy, your head's spinning. So there's just a lot of things that come along with getting the reps, and there's nothing that can substitute that except doing it every day in and day out. And here we are, transitioning from fall camp now into the regular season, and now we've got this communication, and the receivers are getting that timing, and obviously we've got guys stepping into those new roles. Justin Ross is finally getting back out here, and we're all excited about that. So there is always a little bit of a transition, but I know we're really excited about where we're at.
I know you said in Charlotte that you were excited to come out here and see what the offensive line looked at because y'all put in so much work this summer. How do you, just now that you've been out here going through camp, what are the reviews? How do you feel like where you guys are right now?
Yeah, I think we're in a really good spot. I think that now we're looking at some more depth, which is really the goal of the offseason and one of the areas that we were a little lacking last year. So I know we're excited about that. I think that one of the guys that I've been really impressed with is my good friend Will Putnam. He deserves all the praise he should be getting. I know he's maybe not been the person that's getting all the press this camp just because of other pertinent issues, but I'll tell you what, Will's played really good ball this camp, and also on that front, I would say Mason Trotter, just competing, put on some good weight this offseason, and so really been excited with those guys. Mitchell Mays continues to make great strides. Obviously Walker Parks, Jordan McFadden, everything you hear about that guy is true. So there's a lot to like about the group that we have, but what I keep telling these guys is, you know what, it doesn't matter what we say, what's written in the articles, and so we go put our hand in the dirt and do it on September 4th. And so that's my challenge to these guys each and every day. Potential and get you so far, and it's a performance game. So I know we're excited to be challenged and excited to put our money where our mouth is.
Are you getting equal number of reps at guard and center, or do they have you doing more center since you know guard so well?
Oh, I'm not much of a math guy. No, I mean, we're splitting reps, and it's one of those things. I think that they're sliding guys in and out. I mean, there'll be days when Dietrich Pennington is sliding in there and getting right guard reps. So it's great to have these young guys challenged and just kind of forged in the fire, if you will. So, we're splitting reps, and guys are getting comfortable playing different positions, and obviously that's been a long-standing school of thought for Coach Caldwell. So I know we're excited that whenever we're pressed with the challenge of maybe having to rotate guys or a guy goes down with an injury, we've got quite a few different options.
How did it first come about? Like, did you go to them and say, hey, if you'll need me a center, did they approach you and say, what did you think about moving?
That's a great question, honestly. I think that that really is. For me personally, I think that I try to be a very self-aware guy, and I know that from a selfish perspective, from a projection to the NFL perspective, that moving to center would be advantageous and for a lot of reasons. So I think there was conversations about that long ago, just about having the ability to snap, not necessarily being the starting center, but potentially getting film at center, and obviously those conversations still continue, and then it just became more of a conversation of who's our best five and who are we going to get on the field. And so then it transitions from, hey, this could be advantageous for me, to this could be advantageous for the team. And so with that in mind, I kind of conducted myself this summer with that possibility, so that when fall camp rolled around, I wasn't taking my first snaps. So I'm not really sure how it really kind of started off, but I knew that both sides thought it might be mutually beneficial.
How hard is it, like, snapping if you never? I mean, I think fans like watching, like, oh, what are you like? What's it like when you got those guys?
When you've got Brian Brzee breathing down your neck, it's not very easy. It's like? It is. It's just. It's hard to replicate getting those type of reps when you have an elite player that's a head up nose on you, who's got elite get off, as we all know. Doing that is different than coming out here and snapping and just taking a couple steps. So that was the adjustment for me early on, is just, okay, how do we make this a game rep? How do we make this fast and get comfortable with, not looking back to see if it was a bad snap? Because that's your natural tendency is, oh, did I mess up the snap? And you obviously don't want to do that. But so there is it just comes back to repetitions. You got to do it, and it's tough because the coaches are not happy when you mess up a snap. And there's some grace involved early on. They're like, hey, we get it. But at this point, I've been perfect the past couple days, and so let's keep it that way. Which is great. I'm at this point really, really confident with it, and I don't think there was ever necessarily a doubt on their end. They just obviously want to push you and make you the best that you can be. So it's a challenge, and it's something that is a learned skill. And like I said, I would never downplay the difficulty of sliding from one offensive line position to another, or flipping from left tackle to right tackle. It happens in the pros, and people think it's just a seamless transition, and it's simply not.
I was going to ask you, do you think 3 or 4 weeks of practice is adequate enough for you to go out there that first week, particularly considering you're going to be lined up against Georgia?
Well, we'll see what happens as far as the lineup goes, but I feel prepared, and I'm confident. And like I said, if we didn't have this defensive front and these defensive packages to go up against every day, I don't know if I would feel that way. But when you're going up against Tyler Davis, Brian Brzee, Trey Williams, Rook, Ororo, on and on and on every day, you're just either you lose all the time or you're forced to get better and get comfortable with it. And so, like I said, now at this point, I'm really confident and comfortable, and if my number's called, then I'll be ready.
Can you elaborate on Putnam and specifically sort of what you've seen out of him this sort of much?
Yeah, I think last year Putt came in and did a great job for us, and obviously first year starting, thrust into that role as a young guy, but he did well. And this offseason he's really taken some strides, I would say foot speed. He also happens to be my roommate, and I will go on record, that dude is a workout machine. He's an animal. I don't know. He's an animal. He's a wrestler, that's why. But he's an absolute beast, and he has been grinding for I don't know how long, but just foot speed and just moving dudes off the ball. He's put some good weight on, 5-10 pounds. So really impressed with Putt this camp, and he's been playing lights out.
I'm sure you've been asked this before, but have you ever played center?
Well, I played center at the opening before my senior year, and then I tore my ACL, so that wasn't very long-lived. Prior to that, no, I've never played center. And but like I said, going back to the value it might add for me potentially projecting to the next level, it's something that number one, makes me more valuable just to be able to have played now in college, potentially all three inside positions, but also just the fact that it might be my best position, and to have the ability to snap and also from the intellectual side, making the calls and adjustments and all of these things that go into playing center, I think that reflected me well. So it's something that I hadn't really seriously done until this year, but I really took it upon myself to accept the challenge, and like I said, I'm confident with where I'm at.
What were your biggest concerns? I'm sorry. What were your biggest concerns when they approached you with this? Snapping, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Yeah, it absolutely is a big deal. I think that for me, it was just being consistent with the snaps. Being here long enough in this offense and having all these snaps under my belt and all of this stuff, I'm extremely confident with the offense and which linebackers were pointing on different plays and adjustments that are to be made. I'm very, very confident with that. So that was never a worry of mine because I have so much experience. But it was for me just the adjustment of you have less space to work with, so you have to create space for yourself, and being consistent with the snaps because the play does not start without the snaps. So obviously it's a critical part of the game and something that I didn't want to be inconsistent with. And going back to what I said earlier, just takes time and just really, really consistent, being really consistent, but really confident with where I'm at.
But somebody at your age is not asked to do this very often, right?
No, I mean, you know what? If you're serious about playing at the next level and want to do this, then find a way. I was having conversations with Coach Sweeney back in the spring, and this could be incorrect, so don't quote me, but I believe Tyler Shatley did not learn to snap until maybe his first training camp with the Jaguars. Or very late in his Clemson career as well. So it's never too late. I think that if the game matters to you and you've got the mental capacity, then it's potentially a really good position. But like I said, I mean, I'm confident with where I'm at, and if the lineup shakes out that way, then I know that I'll be ready.
Coach Elliott laughed a couple weeks ago when we asked about the defensive line and going up against those guys. Just how good are they? How have you seen them improve from last year? Any guys in particular that stood out?
Any guys in particular, I would just say all of them. They've had a tremendous camp, really challenging us every day, which is what we need as a group. It forces us to be more physical and just really there's so many different looks that they present every day that it really stresses you from an identification standpoint and makes you think. And then on top of that, while you're busy thinking, and they'll just hit you in the mouth. So like I said, it's great preparation for what we're going to face because it's physical and fast and all that stuff. So they've had a great camp, and a guy like Brian Brzee is only getting better, and good God, I mean, he's going to be a nightmare. But and then a guy like Brian Brzee somehow overshadows a guy like Tyler Davis, who's really good too. So they just keep coming, which is great for us because we're all on the same sideline on Saturdays. So I know that they're really pleased with how they've been doing, and we really appreciate the way they've challenged us.
You mentioned physicality. Jordan was saying a couple weeks ago that he felt like you guys lacked consistent physicality at times last year. How do you feel about that? Has that been a point of emphasis?
Well, I think that's a fair assessment. I think that I wouldn't say we lacked physicality at all points, but it's pretty fair to say that we were inconsistent with it, and that's something that you got to look at the man in the mirror and consider how you're going to improve upon that. And I know this year we really tried to get some guys heavier, good weight. We don't want to ever put bad weight on, but thicken up a little bit and so we can be physical at the point of attack. And I know that it's something that we really like with some of these young guys, with Marcus Tate and Dietrich Pennington, two big dudes that could potentially help us out and give us depth when we need it. So I think we've done a good job. I think that this D-line they've challenged us every day, and it's only making these guys better, these young guys that need it, and us old guys as well, just getting reps to prepare for this upcoming game.
How Trey and Rook, anything in particular stand out to you about them and how maybe they've progressed? Yeah,
definitely with Rook, I would say he's one of those guys. Bringing the physicality has been an improvement that I've seen with him. That's been really good to see. And then Trey Williams continuing to develop his great hand usage. I think that he came in with pretty good hands, but now being able to do it at a high speed and be able to do it while he's running various stunts and blitzes and stuff. So those are two guys that are going to play a lot, I would have to guess, which is great to see and great to have that kind of depth. Just keep rolling them in there and keep gashing them. So those guys, it's not like when we go against the second group that it's some cakewalk. Which is great. And this is the depth that they have on the defense is pretty crazy. So those guys have challenged us as well, and really excited to see where they're at.
What have you seen from the running backs during the preseason and any of those guys? I'm sure all of them are kind of.
Yeah.
What have you seen from that battle? What's it been like?
I mean, them dudes, they just keep coming too. And I expected that to be the case coming out of the summer, and it's rang true. I mean, everybody knows Will Shipley at this point, and they're going to get to know him a lot better for sure. Obviously, Kobe Pace really stepped into a big role. Lin Jay's been around for a long time. So, as you mentioned, it's just all of them. I think collectively we've got a really tremendous room there, and Coach Spiller is coaching them up. So, we're really excited to have those guys back there.
Do you like starting with an opponent the caliber of Georgia, where you're going to know pretty much off the bat and have an accurate assessment of where you guys are as an offensive line and even as a team?
Yeah, I do. I think that it's no nonsense. Let's spot the ball and play. I don't like having a false sense of security and then getting exposed. So let's just spot the ball and play, and let's see if we're really about it, because talking season is soon to be over, and you're either going to talk about it or be about it, and it's one of the two, and you're going to find out real quick. So yeah, I like starting out with Georgia, and I like being challenged, and it's not to be conceited or cocky or anything like that, because we know it's going to be a heavyweight fight. But that's the type of stuff you want when you're a true football player, and if you're scared of that, then you probably shouldn't be at this level.
I know the offensive line talks a lot about physicality, but the defense talks about it too. The team as a whole. Do you feel like as a team you guys have grown in that area?
Yeah, I mean it's been an emphasis, because we've been challenged this offseason, plain and simple. That from a physicality standpoint, where we left off and what we last put on tape was not physical enough, and so we've all been challenged, and I know that we've all been incredibly competitive this summer in this camp, and we're gonna roll out some dudes that are ready to play, and it's no promise that everything's gonna be perfect, but I know that we're gonna get some dudes that will stick their hat in there and play ball, and whatever happens. But I know we're pretty confident with where we're at. Offensively, obviously, I can't speak too much on the defense, but from a physicality standpoint, it's been an emphasis, and it's something that we're really trying to improve upon.
Matt,
Go
the
2,
last
3 more
3
from
weeks,
Matt.
How would you describe DJ's presence, his sort of leadership, the way he sort of?
Yeah, DJ's got a very unique presence. I think that he came in even as a freshman and had a very quiet confidence about him, and now he's obviously has a very quiet demeanor, but he's become more of a vocal guy in the huddle, and he knows that he's kind of the guy that everyone looks towards to really run the show at the end of the day. So he's done a great job, and I know that he's getting better and better with his decision making and getting the ball out quick and all that stuff. So I know DJ's had a really good camp, and those other quarterbacks as well. We got a young room, but those dudes have competed, and I think about a guy like Will Taylor, who he's a winner. I don't know what position he's going to end up at, but that dude, he's a winner. That's all you can say. So obviously DJ gets a lot of the notoriety, but I think that quarterback room as a whole has had a really good camp.
How quick with Will did you realize, like, hey, this guy's...
Which Will?
Will Taylor, sorry.
I was going to say, I think we got to define that. I just think, man, his ability to make plays when the play breaks down is incredible. And sometimes you see that a lot with guys in high school, but then when they get to the college level, they can't do it as much because they're going against better players. But he's shifty and nimble, and man, that kid's quick. So I'm excited to see where that kid ends up, because he's a ball player and he's a winner.
Matt, do you think,
One more from Matt. Go ahead, Todd.
do you think that DJ's leadership, his vocal leadership, is a little bit forced? Is he accepting that role in a good way?
No, I don't think it's forced. I think that I understand what you're getting at, and you never want to be fabricated as a leader or be someone that you're not, and I totally get that. And some guys just by nature are not vocal, but I think with him it's more so just kind of interjecting in his own way and kind of giving those little notes of encouragement or kind of giving those last tips and keys before we go out to run out on the field. So not necessarily being a rah-rah guy. I don't necessarily mean that when I say he's become more vocal, but more so just really being confident in himself and his command of the offense and his command of the guys that are around him. So that's kind of more what I mean with his vocal leadership and kind of that development. But I totally get what you mean, but it's not necessarily fabricated at all. I wouldn't say that.